Hello, good morning, students. Yes, students, can you hear me? All of you can hear me. Walaikum Assalam, good morning. So in the last class, students, we have discussed demand. What is demand? The different concepts related to demand, that is definition, law of demand, right? Then the movement along the same demand curve. These things we have discussed. Now in this class, we are going to discuss very important concept related to demand, that is known as elasticity of demand, right? What happens in case of law of demand? We see the relationship between demand and the price of the product, and we have seen that there is indirect relation between price of the product and quantity demanded of that particular product, right? So we simply know the direction of relation between price and quantity demanded in case of law of demand. But in case of elasticity helps you quantify this relationship. जो elasticity of demand में आपको ये पता चलता है कि डिमांड, क्वांटिटी डिमांडेड और प्राइसेस किस तरह से रिलेटेड है, उस रिलेशन को आप नंबर्स में क्वांटिफाई कर सकते हैं, उसको बता सकते हैं नंबर के फॉर्म में, राइट? दैट इज व्हाट द meaning of elasticity of demand. If you ask me, the elasticity is a measure. It is a measurement of what? It is measurement of change in quantity demanded or purchased of a product in relation to its factors. And we know that there are several factors. It is not only price on which demand depends. There are several other factors. For example, price of other related goods, income, taste and preference, right? And several other factors which influence demand. So, elasticity of demand measures the degree of responsiveness or to what extent demand depends on these factors which we have discussed. These factors which are mentioned here, you can see price of the commodity. So when you see the relationship between price and quantity demanded in quantity form, we quantify it, that is known as price elasticity. When you see the relation between quantity demanded and price of other related commodity, that is known as cross elasticity. When we see impact of income and quantity demanded, that is known as income elasticity. So in short, you can call it the elasticity of demand measures the relation between quantity demanded and its factors. The factors may be price of other related goods, income, and so on, right? So that is the meaning of elasticity of demand. Is this clear, students? Yes. Okay. So moving on to the measurement part, that is price elasticity. In this lecture, we are going to study in detail what is price elasticity, degrees of price elasticity or kinds of price elasticity, how price elasticity can be measured, right? What are the different methods of measuring price elasticity? First of all, we will see the meaning of price elasticity of demand. So price elasticity of demand is nothing but it is a measure of change in the quantity demanded or purchase of a product in relation to its price change, right? So in simple word you can call it this. Look here on the screen, that price elasticity of demand can be written as PED, price elasticity of demand, is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. For example, you are buying anything. Suppose percentage change in quantity demanded is say 20%. किसी चीज की डिमांड 20% चेंज हो रही और एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ 10% चेंज इन प्राइस. So percentage change in price is 10, percentage change in quantity demand is 20. So the elasticity will be equal to 2, that is greater than 1. That means relatively elastic demand. That means the percentage change in quantity demanded is greater than the percentage change in price. इसका मतलब ये हुआ, ये सिग्नल है सेलर्स के लिए, प्रोड्यूसर्स के लिए कि थोड़ा सा प्राइस चेंज करके वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा सेल कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि आप देख सकते हो क्वांटिटी डिमांड में कितना परसेंट चेंज आया, 20% चेंज आया, जबकि प्राइस में 10% ही चेंज किया उन्होंने. 10% प्राइस कम कर लो, 20% ज़्यादा सेल्स हो जाएगा. दैट्स व्हाई ऑल दोज ऑफर्स एंड डिस्काउंट्स कम. बाय दैट वे द सेलर्स आर एबल टू सेल मोर और उनकी रेवेन्यू जो है बढ़ जाती है उसकी वजह से, राइट. सो व्हेन द वैल्यूज आर इवन गिवन इन percentage term, you can easily calculate price elasticity of demand. This is equal to 2 as in this example. If you need to calculate it, so you can apply this formula. Arithmetically this formula can be written: price elasticity of demand is equal to delta Q upon delta P multiplied by P upon Q. We will discuss this in detail when we will discuss methods of measuring price elasticity of demand. So these two simplest formula is there. Either you convert things in percentage and find the elasticity, or you find the numerical values, price elasticity in this format, right? So that is also possible. Now we will see degrees of price elasticity. What are the different kinds of price elasticity? So price elasticity may be equal to infinity, that is perfectly elastic. It may be inelastic, perfectly inelastic, that is equal to 0, right? Infinity equal to 0, that is perfectly inelastic. Relatively elastic, that is greater than 1. Unitary elastic, that is equal to 1. Relatively inelastic demand, that is less than 1. So there are 5 different degrees of price elasticity of demand, or in other words you can say price elasticity of demand ranges between 0 to infinity. If it is infinity, it will be called as perfectly elastic. If it is equal to 0, it will be perfectly inelastic. If it is equal to 1, it will be unitary elastic. If it is greater than 1, relatively elastic. Less than 1, relatively inelastic. Now dear students, we will discuss this in detail, these 5 different degrees of elasticity. Let us see. First one is perfectly elastic demand. Up to here students, is it fine? It's okay, all of you? No question? Please let me know. If there is any question, please tell me so that I can repeat that. Okay, fine, right? So let us see now degrees of price elasticity. So first one is perfectly elastic demand. When this is equal to infinity, it is known as perfectly elastic. A negligible increase, slight increase आपने प्राइस को करेंगे तो आपका डिमांड जो है 0 हो जाएगा. ऐसी सूरत में elasticity जो है that is equal to infinity. Let us see with the help of this diagram. You can see here, you have on y-axis we have price, on X we have quantity, right? This is our perfectly elastic demand line. This is how you can draw. It will be horizontal to x-axis. That PD line is the perfectly elastic demand line. So price is this, it is Q1. The same price you have quantity Q2 or it may be Q3. So a slight increase in this will bring in the quantity as 0. It will fall down, right? So this is something, you know, which is possible in case of perfect market only. We see this kind of perfectly elastic demand curve, right? In other imperfect market we don't find this type of demand curve. Okay, now the second extreme case is perfectly inelastic, right? And this is possible, this type of situation is there when the goods are neutral to price change. Price घटे बढ़े लेकिन डिमांड उसका इक्वली रहता है. जैसे सॉल्ट डिमांड है, प्राइस सपोज 10 रुपीज़ पर केजी है तो उतना होगा, 20 होगा तो भी होगा, 50 हो जाए फिर भी उतने ही डिमांड होने वाले हैं. न्यूट्रल टाइप ऑफ कमोडिटी. सो एंड फॉर दिस we can draw the diagram like this. You can see here again, and it is like this vertical demand curve, vertical and parallel to y-axis it will be. Okay, so you can see at price P1 quantity demanded is Q1. Quantity demand is not changing. Price is, even if price is changing, demand is not changing. That means price change has no impact on demand. In that case, elasticity will be equal to 0. Whereas at this particular price, you have different quantities demanded, and slight price change will lead to fall in the demand to 0. Okay. Yes, students, these are the two cases, extreme cases of demand elasticity. Okay. Yes. Now moving on to third degree of elasticity, that is highly elastic demand curve. This is possible in case of all luxury goods, and even in case of normal goods you will find elasticity greater than 1. That means आपका change quantity demand में change ज़्यादा नज़र आएगा, थोड़ा सा price change कर लेंगे, and in this case demand curve is like this. You can see it is flatter, it is flatter and more or less little bit parallel to the x-axis. So this DD is your demand curve, right? It is flatter, steepness is very less, right? A small change in price, you can see here, when price is P1, quantity demanded is Q1. Okay, when price changes, little price change, you see price has fallen down from P1 to P2, your demand changed to Q2. You see this difference, I'll show you here. Let us quickly see. See this change in price is this much, only this much, whereas change in demand is far greater. So this, you see this gap, this is larger than this gap. So change in price is small, whereas change in demand is larger. So in such situation, your elasticity is greater than 1. Fifth case is unitary elastic. That means equal change. 10% प्राइस में चेंज किया आपने, 10% चेंज क्वांटिटी डिमांड में भी हो रहा है. इक्वल चेंज इन प्राइस as well as quantity demanded, and in this case your demand curve is a rectangular hyperbola like this. Your demand curve will be like this. You see here the second one, it will be rectangular hyperbola. Okay, and in this case elasticity is equal to 1. That means a price change and your quantity change, this distance is similar. I'll show you here in this diagram. If you can see, this change P1 to P2 and Q1 to Q2, more or less this change and this change is equal, right? So in such situation, your elasticity will be equal to 1. 10% divided by 10%, 10% change in quantity demanded, 10% change in price, so it will be equal to 1. Whereas in this situation, you see your quantity demanded changes by 20, whereas price change by 10, so it will be 2, which is greater than 1, right? So this is the fourth degree of price elasticity. Now fifth one, you can see less than 1. That means your price change is far greater, whereas change in demand is less than that, right? So you can see when price is P1, quantity demanded is Q1, price change to P2, your quantity demanded changes to Q2, but you see, you can observe here, the change in price is far greater than the change in quantity. This quantity change is less. It is reverse of this one. You see, the first case, greater than 1 ka reverse hai. Your change in quantity demanded is 10, whereas change in price is 20. So your elasticity is here 0.5, which is less than 1. And in this case, your demand line is steeper. Slope jo hai na, iski zyada hai, bahut zyada, and it is more parallel or more closer to y-axis, right? Y-axis के पैरेलल की तरफ झुकाव ज़्यादा है, जबकि ग्रेटर देन इलास्टिक के केस में x की तरफ झुकाव ज़्यादा रहता है, right? So these are 5 different types of degrees of elasticity, dear students, right? Is this fine? Yes, students, please let me know. Okay, now moving on to, so these are the 5 different degrees of elasticity, price elasticity. Quickly we'll move on to methods of measuring price elasticity. There are 4 different methods of measuring price elasticity: ratio method, percentage method, or arithmetic method. We know it by 3 different names. We even call it proportionate method also. This first method is known by ratio method, percentage method, proportionate method, arithmetic method. तो फर्स्ट वाले को 4 अलग अलग नाम से भी जानते हैं हम, right? Ratio, percentage method, proportionate method and arithmetic method. Let us see how it is done. It is elasticity of demand expressed as a proportionate change in quantity demanded divided by proportionate change in the price of the commodity, which you can write like this. I'll show you here that price elasticity EP is equal to proportion of change or proportionate change. See it here, it is, it is little bit, it should be closer. Proportionate change in quantity demanded of commodity X divided by proportionate change in price of X. The same thing we can write like this: Q2 minus Q1. In fact, Q2 minus Q2 is the change quantity, Q1 is the original quantity, divided by Q1. You can write like this: Q2 minus Q1 upon Q1, right? Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 further P1. इसको हम लिख सकते हैं ऐसे करके, Q2 minus Q1 को डेल्टा Q लिखते हैं, right? And this, when you rearrange this equation, this whole formula, you can write delta Q, और P2 minus P1 को डेल्टा P लिख सकते हैं हम, change P, multiplied by P upon Q. So in simplified form, this formula can be written delta Q upon delta P multiplied by P upon Q. ठीक है, आप Q2, Q1, P2, P1 क्या है, एक वैल्यू आपका मिल जाएगा. You can easily calculate. In detail we will solve the numericals in the next class obviously. Now let us see only the formula and how we can calculate it. So this is the ratio method. This is how we can calculate the, with the help of ratio method. Moving on to the next method, that is known as point method or geometric method. This point method or geometric method was given by Alfred Marshall. क्या बोलते हैं मार्शल के, इलास्टिसिटी जो डिमांड कर्व पे है वो डिफरेंट होती है एट डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स. आई विल शो यू विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस diagram. Let us see. Suppose this is your x and y axis and this is our demand line. Okay, this is our demand line. This is x, this is y. Marshall says that on the demand, this demand line, elasticity will be different at different point. हर एक point पे. अच्छा, how many points are there on this demand line? कितने points हो सकते हैं? You will find on a particular demand line, किसी भी line पे infinite, unlimited point होते हैं, बहुत सारे point होते हैं. तो इसको थोड़ा simplify करते हैं हम. What we will do, we will connect this to x axis and this we will connect to y axis. यहाँ पे this is your A point and this is your B point, suppose, and you can see this is our middle point or center point C, right? So extreme point A, extreme point B, and this is middle point. Suppose, let us assume, suppose ये AB line जो है, suppose is equal to 6 सेंटीमीटर मान के चलते हैं हम कैलकुलेशन के पर्पज से. तो इलास्टिसिटी जो है वो मेजर की जाती है, फॉर्मूला है एट एनी पॉइंट ऑफ अ डिमांड कर्व इलास्टिसिटी कैन बी मेजर्ड बाय लोअर सेगमेंट डिवाइडेड बाय अपर सेगमेंट. ये फॉर्मूला है हमारा, लोअर सेगमेंट डिवाइडेड बाय अपर सेगमेंट. ओके, सो सपोज वी वांट टू मेजर इलास्टिसिटी एट पॉइंट सी. सो elasticity at C it will be equal to lower segment क्या हो गया हमारा CB and upper segment AC. Okay, AC. Now we have assumed that this whole length of this is 6 centimeter. तो और C is the middle point. तो CB 3 हो जाएगा आपका और ये भी 3 हो जाएगा, है ना, 3 सेंटीमीटर 3 सेंटीमीटर. सो 3 upon 3 is equal to 1. So at C your elasticity will be equal to 1. Okay, at C your elasticity will be equal to 1. Whereas any point, let us take another point at say in between C और B के मिडल में एक पॉइंट और ले लेते हैं. सपोज दिस इज योर E पॉइंट, ये E पॉइंट है यहाँ मिडल CB के मिडल में, और एक पॉइंट और ले लो आप यहाँ पे D, है ना, AC का मिडल पॉइंट D है. नाउ इफ यू वांट टू मेजर इलास्टिसिटी एट पॉइंट E, है ना, सॉरी DE, यस, at point E. तो ये at point E your elasticity EP at E will be equal to lower segment EB हो गया, और हमने बोला CB का आधा है तो ये पूरा 3 है, 3 सेंटीमीटर, तो आधा 1.5 हो जाएगा. 1.5 डिवाइडेड बाय द अपर सेगमेंट. तो यहां से ऊपर टोटल जो है, टोटल लेंथ 6 है तो रिमेनिंग हो जाएगा 4.5. ओके, सो 1.5 upon 4.5, this will be you can call it, it will be almost 0.33, right? At point E, your elasticity will be equal to 0.33. Please check, student, what you are measuring. Just check it at point E, what will be 1.5 divided by 4.5. How much you are getting? It should be 0.33 only. Please check it. Anybody? Just check it. Okay. Just verify it. Okay. So, and at point B you can see elasticity at B point, that is this extreme point, will be equal to lower segment. Lower segment is 0, upper segment is 6. देखो lower segment नीचे कुछ नहीं है तो ये 0, upper segment 6. तो you have nothing to share and you are sharing with 6. So what your elasticity will be equal to 0. So here at point B it is 0, at point E it will be 0.33. Now at point D I am sharing at elasticity at D will be equal to, your lower segment is 4.5. ये देखो आप, वो यहाँ से यहाँ तक 3 है, ये 1.5 है, मिडिल पॉइंट है 4.5. So lower segment is 4.5 and upper segment is 1.5. So your elasticity will be 3. At point D it will be equal to 3, that is greater than 1. At point D it will be greater than 1, whereas at point A your elasticity will be equal to infinity. I will show you. EP at point A is equal to, your lower segment is all complete 6 and divided by, so any number divided by 0 will give you infinity. So at different point you have different elasticity. 5 different point I have identified and measured the value. Okay, but if demand line, it is not a line, if it is a curve, in that case what will happen, you need to draw a tangent line. एक tangent line draw करना पड़ेगा ऐसे करके. I'll show you. This way, this is your curve. If you want to measure here, you draw a tangent line. एक touch करता हुआ line draw करो. Then you will get a lower segment and upper segment, and you can easily calculate the elasticity with the help of geometric method. Okay. Yes, students. Now moving on to the third method quickly, students, that is arc method. Arc method measures elasticity with a slightly different formula, slightly different from the proportionate method. You take the average of two values. Arc, I'll show you one diagram, then you will understand. Your y, this is our x, and this is our demand curve. Suppose one point is here and the second point is here. You can see here change in price P2, this is P1, this is Q1, this is Q2. So your change in the price and change in quantity is larger, and you can see point A and this is point B, there is a arc, this is an arc of demand on the demand curve. So when change is larger, it is better to use arc method rather than using proportionate method. Otherwise, if you take original value, like simple method of proportionate method is what? Proportionate method में कैसा measure करते? EP is equal to delta Q upon delta P मल्टीप्लाइड बाय P अपॉन Q. ये P जो है आपका ओरिजिनल क्वांटिटी प्राइस लेते हैं एंड ओरिजिनल क्वांटिटी लेते हैं आप. अगर इसको चेंज करके आप चेंज प्राइस एंड चेंज क्वांटिटी लेंगे तो इलास्टिसिटी बदल जाएगी. इसलिए हम दिस आर्क मेथड में एवरेज ले लेते, Q1 प्लस Q2 एक नहीं लेते, डिवाइडेड बाय 2. सिमिलरली P1 प्लस P2 डिवाइडेड बाय 2, उसको सिंप्लीफाई करेंगे तो इस तरह से आ जाएगा आपका. इसको हम फर्दर ऐसा लिख सकते हैं, यू कैन सी Q2 माइनस Q1 इज नथिंग बट डेल्टा Q. ये तो सेम रहेगा जैसा प्रोपोर्शनेट मेथड में. एंड दिस P2 minus P1 is delta P into Q2 plus Q1, दोनों का एडिशन है. यहां पे देखो एक ही लेते हैं ना, सॉरी इट शुड बी लिटिल मिस्टेक, जस्ट अ सेकेंड. यू राइट P1 plus P2 upon Q1 प्लस Q2. इस वाला ये दिस इज प्रोपोर्शनेट मेथड का फॉर्मूला, राइट. इट इज P अपॉन Q. One quantity we are taking, either original or the change one. But here what we do, we change the origin, we take change one and original one. This is original price, this is change price. This is original quantity, this is change quantity. तो दोनों का एडिशन लेते हैं हम, फिर कैलकुलेट करते हैं in case of arc method. Why we do so? Because if we take only one value, original or change, the elasticity will be different. There will be different elasticities at if you change the base value, right? That's why we use the arc method. And finally, students, moving on to the fourth method, that is known as total outlay method. This is the last method, dear students. I'll show you just a second. The last method is total outlay method, right? Methods of measuring elasticity with the help of total outlay method. What is this method? Let us see. Total outlay method measures elasticity when in relation to price change. Price change होने की वजह से total outlay या total expenditure जो है कंज्यूमर्स का, उसमें क्या चेंज होता है, उसके हिसाब से हम elasticity मेजर करते हैं. बाय कंपेयरिंग एक्सपेंडिचर लेवल्स बिफोर एंड आफ्टर चेंज इन प्राइस. ठीक है, अगर क्या होता है उसका सिचुएशन में बताता हूं. व्हेन देयर इज डिक्रीज इन प्राइस, इफ डिक्रीज इन प्राइस रिजल्ट इन इंक्रीज इन रेवेन्यू और सेल्स, तो consumers expenditure and outlay is nothing but revenue or sales of the sellers. ठीक है, हम जो स्पेंड करते हैं वो रेवेन्यू है सेलर का और कंपनीज का, फर्म का, राइट. प्राइस, इफ देयर इज डिक्रीज इन प्राइस, डिक्लाइन इन प्राइस, इफ दैट डिक्लाइन इन प्राइस लीड टू इंक्रीज इन रेवेन्यू, दैट मीन्स डिमांड चेंज हुआ और सेल ज़्यादा हुआ तो रेवेन्यू ज़्यादा हो गया. ऐसी सूरत में इलास्टिसिटी जो है, डिमांड विल बी इलास्टिक, और यू कैन कॉल इट इज ग्रेटर देन 1. इट विल बी ग्रेटर देन 1. बट व्हेन अ डिक्रीज इन प्राइस, प्राइस डिक्रीज किया लेकिन डिक्रीज की वजह से रेवेन्यू भी डिक्रीज हुआ, प्राइस डिक्रीज किया रेवेन्यू भी डिक्रीज हुआ, right? So in that case demand elasticity will be inelastic, or it will be less than 1, right? Decrease in price leads to increase in revenue, then it will be elastic. Decrease in price leading to decrease in revenue, that will be inelastic. And finally you can see decrease in price will result in no change in revenue, right? Price changes, no price increases, decreases, but sales does not change. So in that case it will be unit elastic. With the help of this total outlay method, you get 3 different type of elasticity of demand: elastic, inelastic and unit elastic. In short, I have shown here in this table, please see it. if fall in price leads to no change in total outlay or total revenue, then it will be equal to 1. Or rise in price also leads to no change, right? तो आपका आउटले अगर कांस्टेंट रहता है चाहे प्राइस घटे या बढ़े, ऐसे सूरत में इलास्टिसिटी विल बी इक्वल टू 1. नेक्स्ट केस, प्राइस फॉल हुआ, टोटल आउटले भी फॉल हो गया, प्राइस राइज हुआ, टोटल आउटले भी राइज हो गया. दैट मीन्स दोनों सेम डायरेक्शन में जा रहा है. प्राइस डिक्रीज, टोटल आउटले ऑल्सो डिक्रीजेस. प्राइस इंक्रीज, टोटल आउटले ऑल्सो इंक्रीज. दोनों सेम डायरेक्शन में. व्हेन डायरेक्शन ऑफ चेंज इन प्राइस एंड आउटले इज सेम, in that case elasticity will be less than 1. When direction of change in price, I am repeating again, if direction of change in price as well as outlay is in the same direction, then elasticity will be less than 1. But if price, there is a fall in price but total outlay rises, opposite जा रहा है, फॉल हो रहा है प्राइस में, आउटले बढ़ रहा है, और अगर राइज हो रहा है प्राइस में तो आउटले घट रहा है. दैट मीन्स इट इज मूविंग इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन. सो व्हेन प्राइस एंड टोटल आउटले और टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर और टोटल रेवेन्यू मूव्स इन ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन, elasticity will be greater than 1. Okay students, I hope you have understood these methods of measuring elasticity. Yes? If yes, please let me know. So these are some of the important 4 methods of measuring elasticity. Yes students, please reply fast. Got it? Okay. Yes. Okay, fine. So dear students, in this class we have studied what do we mean by elasticity of demand, what is price elasticity of demand, degrees of price elasticity, and methods of measuring price elasticity. We have studied 4 different methods of measuring elasticity. Dear students, in the next class I'll show you numerical examples by each methods, how it can be done in detail. Okay, yes students, this is all about for today. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Good day for today. See you in the next class. Okay, bye students. I'm stopping now. Okay. Bye bye. Take care.